Hello. I be back. And it looks like our rocket is not. Is this good? Is it bad? I don't know yet. But one thing I will say is I can't select the, the command capsule again. Okay. I am not relishing the idea of having to save and reload every single time we go out. That is very much not something I am looking forward to. Obsidian and steel. We've got enough. Plastic and steel. We don't have enough steel right now, but, you know, we can get there. Glass, diamond, steel. We can probably make the monument. Yeah, but Zangiri, I can still select the cargo base and the research silos when it's not there. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Right. Because in much the same way as we did with the, like, when we deconstructed the research sections and they weren't, like, that part of the ship wasn't there when it came back. If I could do that with the capsule while there's a dupe in it, that would probably be ultra bad times for the dupe. Right, yeah, no, I get you. I get you. That does make a lot of sense, actually. Well, all that CO2 certainly helped drive the heat in this area up like crazy. So now, the coolant is going out at 130 and it's coming back at 150. That is looking very nice indeed. Very, very nice indeed. Yep. So 130 going out, 150 coming back. I'm guessing these will be, yeah, they're about 140-ish. But yeah, I'll wait for the rocket to come back. We'll see. Maybe the bug will be largely gone. If it isn't, you know, no harm, no foul. I believe that's an issue added to by the big mergers. I can't even remember being able to select parts of the rocket when it was not there. Right, okay. Yeah, there's probably a good many little places where the big mergers caused issues. And we're hopefully helping them find all of those little places. I really need a much better refinery situation, frankly. I'm not able to push enough oil up right now because I'm having to filter it, which is irritating. I think it actually might be better for me, if I'm perfectly honest, if I don't filter it at all. And instead, I just allow the oil to move up. You know what? I think we're going to do that. Just so that there's an uninterrupted supply of oil moving into the oil refineries. Oof, that's going to be a bit of a pot to try and fix. but whatever. Let's make that a 7 across the board, but make sure that these remain 8s because we desperately need that petroleum coming in. See, I start talking about it and all of a sudden I'm getting loads of petroleum from down here. Ah, scallywags! Make up your bloody mind. Realistically, if I want to filter it, I should do it out here. Because this is the only place that, sensibly speaking... Oh, wow. That's a bit nasty. That is going to cause me problems later on. I'm still not going to worry too much about it right now, though, if I'm perfectly honest. I'm going to leave that one be a future me problem. Because I'm getting too distracted with all of the other little bits and bobs that I could do better here or there. Yep. Right, now that should afford enough throughput of oil into the refineries that when someone decides to work them, they can just keep working them for a while. Where did this come from? That should not have been able to overspill down here, but... Yeah, that's what we needed to see. When it was just splitting the oil either way, it meant that someone would run out of something to do and then would switch to the other, so we were getting trickles of petroleum in instead of this constant stream that I've wanted. That should actually help out quite a lot. Let's head back to the star map. How are we doing? 0.5 cycles for the return. The thought of merging two separate divergent code bases like this makes me sweaty. Yeah. I love the word potch. Never heard anyone else use it. It's a Welshism. It's like cwtch. That's the word, you know, if you come from kind of, I was going to say true Wales, but that has weird connotations. Deep Wales. Let's say the deeper parts of the Welsh Fellas and stuff like that. If, you know, you get a hug from your grandma, you get a cwtch from your nine, you know? There we go. Well, I'm not sure if the sheep outnumber the people in Wales anymore. I don't know. I think what I will do is I actually will have this move across, but I'll allow it so that switches on either side in the case of something going horribly, horribly wrong will facilitate me swapping over. Oh, there we go. Oh, goodness, that looks good, though. My lord. That was fantastic. Did we get anything amazing? We got some... Oh, wait. We might have. Let's have a look. Amazing things are being delivered. Polluted oxygen is being delivered. No. Find carbon, coal, diamonds, niobium. Alright, niobium. Tell me your secrets, niobium. What can I do with you? I don't know, but I want to. I want to know. What are your secrets? Okay, I don't know anymore. Makes me sad. Very well. It's actually not... some parts are hot, but not all parts. The coal is not, but... Suppose I'll let you out. I can't break this down though. I bet when I look into properties or errands, not operational again. See, that's the part that's frustrating is I can't do anything with it. The dupe leaves immediately, and then it's marked as not operational. A bit of overheat damage over here. It's a bit of a shame. But I guess I'm going to have to deconstruct that then. And rebuild it out of steel, I guess. But niobium is here now. Rare metal with many practical applications in metallurgy and superconductor research. Yeah. I'm not sure what we're going to be using that for, but hopefully it's going to be something amazing. Yeah, the meteors are completely stopped at this point, yeah. What we might have to do is simply put this series on hiatus until the big merge is worked out some more of the little kinks in it. Because I don't want to just, you know, settle for the... Oh, there we are. Oh, overheat temperature plus 500? Right. Mm-hmm. Right. Okay, so that's what you'd be using niobium for. At that point, you could just have... You wouldn't even need to shield the miners, frankly. In fact, once you've got niobium, you don't need any way of cooling the miners down. Because if they can take temperatures of 500 degrees, then if/when a meteorite lands on them, it will technically cool them down. Because I've never seen the meteorites come in hotter than, like, 300. Because these haven't been touched, so they should still more or less be the same temperatures they were when they started. Regolith, yeah, 300s. So you'd have, like, a bit of wiggle room of 200 degrees. You can use niobium to make thermium, which has plus 900 degree limit. Yeah, at that point, you'd have such headroom that eventually something is going to land on it and cool it down. But it does look like, sadly, again, I'm not going to keep faffing around with this. If it keeps going to not operational, I'm not going to worry about it. I can't break it down to rebuild it, because I'd be totally okay with that, just breaking it down and rebuilding it again and again. But if I have to keep restarting, that's a bit less fun. That one ran out of power. Oops. I drained the power. My bad. My bad. Mein vliegen Genny. Oopsie. Can I have more power, please? Do I really not have any petroleum? Oh, that's frustrating. Perhaps someone could come down here and... Yeah, there we go. The valve you just made doesn't need to be steel, but it can't give off its heat because it's in the vacuum of space. Well, that's the thing, it can. Because the valve itself doesn't produce heat. It was only when the door opened and a flood of super hot CO2 from the exhaust of the rocket ship washed over it that it got hot and then started to take damage. So by making it out of steel and giving it such a high overheat temperature, that same, 150, 170 degree heat exhaust fumes coming through that door every now and then may well heat it, but it can't heat it hotter than it is. And once and occasionally that valve is going to be hotter than the heat coming its way. The gases being exhausted from the silo. And in those cases, the gases will actually leach heat out of it instead. So by making it out of steel, it's just going to keep things nice and easy for me. But you are right. Yeah, it doesn't have any way to get rid of its heat normally, and that's why it started overheating. If it was in the base, the atmosphere would have been fine. But just generally speaking, I've not needed to worry about it. It's just that was a bit of an exception because it just got smashed by a huge swell of very hot gas. But by simply replacing that with 50 kilos of steel, that problem's resolved. So it's 100% not a material efficient solution, but it is a quick solution, and that's what I've gone for here. But thank you very much for mentioning that, though. I've learned a lot about the game from... Oh, the copper volcano is active. From people, mentioning stuff like that. Oh, I see. Oh, that's fantastic. Copper volcano. Tooltip. Copper volcano active. Pause. Zoom. No, don't zoom. Pop. Boing, boing. I don't need it to be... Ah. Yeah, that's good. I approve. We will keep that notification. But I think, yeah, we're probably gonna stop focusing on this for now. I don't feel like redesigning this when it's not working properly. So we'll come back to this at another time. I mean, it's nice to be sending out the rocket to gather up loot and stuff like that. I just wish it wasn't quite as finicky, I guess. More Stonehearth then. Stonehearth is even more finicky though right now. The last stream was quite ugh, as a consequence of how choppy and weird the pathing was. We may be looking at accidentally seeing some of our colonists perish. Oh, such tragedy. But in their death, they have freed us from the curse of the super slow everything. We'll see. I'm probably only over the limit by a few colonists, but we'll... Depends on a couple of things. We'll have a proper look. A wild Oassise stream while I can watch? How marvelous. Hello. In terms of what games am I looking to play in the future, probably some more Battle Brothers. We'll be getting back to Tyranny, Thea 2. People have been mentioning Stationeers quite a lot, and I am certainly interested. Oh, we've got some of these ready. Let's send down the saxophone. Where are you? What? Oh, there we go. There we go. Mangled saxophone, please, and thank you. It just doesn't seem to be as much interest from my viewers when it comes to From the Depth streams. I've had it up for a couple of times and it rarely wins. I think the problem with From the Depths is people are not so interested in watching me play From the Depths. They're interested in watching me do what they want me to do in From the Depths. And as you've probably already worked out, if you're a long-time viewer, Aavak does what he pleases. You might have the perfect way to build something. I will build a brick submarine. I cannot. For the sleek, elegant designs that you might be familiar with your many thousands of hours. I am gonna do what makes sense to me and what I find fun, which is usually experimenting rather than actually achieving any particular goals. But the consequence is not as enjoyable for those who, again, like are pretty confident with the game and know what they want. We need to extend this out a bit. Get to that part eventually, but not right now. These out. Oh, balls, I'm doing all of that still. Damn it. Nothing wrong with a cube marine. No, indeed. I quite enjoy playing with submarines. That being said, the last time we streamed, I played on adventure mode for the first time ever. And, no, I enjoyed just building that little submarine that did a whole lot of nothing. But I'm not sure how much enjoyment you can get out of the adventure mode. I mean, it's a good place to experiment with things, I guess. But there's no real narrative to that game mode, obviously. It's not campaign. But I feel that, like a lot of tech-focused games, if they have no narrative, it just becomes tech toy. And so there isn't as much push with it, if that makes sense. There isn't as much to do, or to justify anything you could do. This is going to be happening for an enormously long time because they're basically trying to move around what were vast amounts of condensed materials there. Where's the pipe? Good. The pipe is there. Hardspace Shipbreaker may be a game that you'd enjoy. Well, like I said, there's Stationeers, which would be an interesting one. Stationeers, likewise, doesn't really have a narrative. But it has a much more aggressive survival element, which kind of gives it a narrative all its own. I hope that that makes sense. But I feel that if a game has a particularly strict survival focus, then you're much less reliant on a narrative to give you justification for doing anything. Doing it because if I don't, I'm gonna die is a good enough justification. Good enough reason. Now, I imagine at least 50% of you have got exactly the same melody playing in your head right now. Exactly the same one. Yeah, I enjoy any game that allows me to just experiment with stuff, basically. That's one of the big parts of any game that I enjoy. Okay, that's working much better. We're seeing a lot more CO2 getting pumped down here now. There we go. How many are there in there? I somehow feel that there is a lot of slicksters up here. Watching you experiment is what I enjoy. I may well do Stationeers, simply because that game offers a lot of potential for experimentation. Just playing around with that sort of stuff. Ooh, we're getting full packets. Yeah, both of them are working it constantly. Oh, that's amazing. That is very nice to see. Very nice to see. Yeah, no, we're getting through the backup of oil in the other satellite oil wells. This is what we've needed for a while. I should have made that change a long time ago, because I realized what change needed to be made ages ago. Just didn't get around to it. Ethically raised slicksters, hashtag yes. I keep hearing about Autonauts, but know nothing about it. That's absolutely another game that we could check out. Yeah, actually, we could easily do Autonauts. Autonauts is a wonderful. I would class Autonauts as edutainment, effectively. It's got a game there, and the game is very enjoyable, and the core the core of the game is a game. The core of the game is genuinely fun. But there's a lot of opportunity for people to learn the very basics and kind of principles behind coding. Super basics. It's very, very visual, very, very... it's got a very low bar for entry. And because it's visual, you see the consequence of your actions very quickly, which honestly, I think helps people learn. When you've got when you're just coding, you might have to code for a while before you can see any of the code actually get implemented, because an unfinished system can sometimes just not be run at all, even in a modularly designed piece of code. Whereas in a game like that, you get immediate visual feedback on this causes this to happen, that caused that to happen, this cluster of code that I just wrote has this effect in the game world, and so it's quite engaging, I feel, for people to learn from it. But also, at its core, it's a game, and I really can't emphasize that, because there's a lot of kind of edutainment titles that are primarily there to educate you or to draw attention to certain things. Like for example, you can look at Wild True Learn or any number of Zachtronic games. Some of them are more games than others, especially with Zachtronics, but some of them are, you really do feel like the focus of the game was helping people understand a certain type of concept, a certain type of activity, and then it was just they found a game roaming around in the wild, enjoying its best life, fell upon it, skinned it, stretched the skin out around the lessons they were trying to learn. The lesson is wearing the skin of a game like a mask. It's not actually a game, not on the inside. Puzzle, yeah, no, exactly. With a very strong emphasis on puzzles, you can usually get a good handle on, is this a game or is this more education? And if the game is more presented through a series of puzzles to overcome, it's more of an education than anything else. Hey, Kamuli Sterling. Hello. But yeah, Autonauts is definitely more of a game. More game first than anything else, but has the nice side effect of also being a useful kind of teaching tool. Only really for people who... I would imagine that anyone with any real familiarity with coding, there's nothing they're going to learn from it, but it'll still be fun to play around with, which is quite nice. But yeah, definitely an interesting one there. Right, I would like to strip all this away, please, and thank you, Tonk. Oh wow, the heat in here is way down. My lord, what happened there? Oh, those are probably running recently. Chrome's going up at 106. It's coming back down at 108. So it's only gaining 2 degrees. But that'll build up over time. Alright. Well, let's have a look. What's the time right now? We're coming just past 8 hours. I'm probably going to be wrapping up soon, but I've been enjoying the conversation about different games you'd be interested in seeing me play. I definitely want to get back to Tyranny. That one's an absolute. I painfully want to finish Tyranny. I've had so much fun with that game. I'm loving the story. So I really want to get back to that reasonably soon. Though I do need to get the VODs from the last stream, or the last 2 streams, up on the second channel before I do. So that's the main thing that's standing in the way of Tyranny right now, is me having free time for stuff. We do have a couple of options. There is Autonauts, there is Tier 2. Well, Tier 2 is one that we haven't played before. So there's Autonauts, there's Stationeers, and because people keep suggesting it, there's Project Zomboid as well. I could definitely check that out. That's a game I've played so little that it's practically a new game to me. It's certainly changed in uncountable ways since the last time I checked it out. Hey, Crispin, how you doing, mate? If you can't solve a problem, it's because you're playing by the rules. Well, I mean, that is perhaps more accurate than we would like to believe. So yeah, as far as new games, right now, I guess we could say on my radar for games to stream, we've got Autonauts, we've got Project Zomboid, we've got Stationeers. Stationeers is much more like this, much more like Oni. Autonauts kind of lies in between the two. You know, with Project Zomboid, it's primarily a game, like almost entirely just a game. With Oxygen included is a game, but with, you know, a kind of focus on a not quite true to science simulation. Stationeers exists between the two. In the same way as Oni, it has survival elements, but it's much more you are the person doing it, rather than you're managing a base full of dupes. You're literally building the base for yourself. You're having to eat. You're having to avoid, you know, being roasted by the atmosphere on Vulcan, or you know, having the gas pressure in the pipes get to such a degree that there's explosive. The pipes just burst and smash out your windows. Then everything gets sucked out into the vacuum of space. It's so on and so forth. We've got, as far as games that I'm already playing, we've got Vintage Story to continue. I'm not feeling that one right now, though. So we'll probably let that one sit a little bit longer. But we have got Thea 2. Would be happy to return to that. Tyranny. I do need to get the VODs up for that one before we return to it. Definitely got RimWorld, and we've got the 1.3 update on the horizon. The more I play 1.3, the less I want to play 1.2. And also, the more I just want to wait for Ideology, because, oh my lord, some of the things that are coming out with that look amazing. Absolutely bonkers amazing. There's Battle Brothers. I haven't got those VODs up on YouTube yet, but I'd be happy at playing that before having done that, since right now it feels like people are really behind on Tyranny, and it's hard to appreciate Tyranny if you don't know all of the steps that have been taken, you know? Whereas Battle Brothers, so what's happening? We're still alive. I've lost one person, but mostly we're alive. There's 12 of us now, and we've got this much reputation. Okay, I'm fully caught up, you know? Whereas with Tyranny, it's like, so what are you up to? Oh, so in the last 4 streams that you've missed, okay, let me get out my journal. You know, it's very different. It's all story, pretty much. Just staring at this, waiting for people to come and build it, but they're just not going to. I wonder what they're all doing, though. Oh, well, some of them are... Oh, okay, so they're working on the hatchery. I guess you could call it a hatchery, I suppose. Another game I want to get back to is Cyberpunk, honestly. I'm disappointed that I didn't have an opportunity to finish off Death Stranding. I kind of want to go back and finish that. And I've got the PC version now, and so I'm somewhat tempted to do it on the PC. I haven't played Raft in a while, no. But I'm not sure that I really feel that one right now. I've just realised that the poor people watching the VODs are just watching me aimlessly looking around, seeing what jobs are being done, and talking about other games. I do apologise. Yeah, I think Death Stranding is probably closer on the to-do list than a lot of other games. I'm still not sure if I'm going to be getting to it you know, within the next few weeks even. But it's creeping ever higher on the to-do list. And if I play the PC version, it's going to be a fresh run. But if I do that, I want to be able to commit to completing it. So the usual, I don't like playing the same game multiple times in a row will probably be suspended. And I will grind through Death Stranding. And understand the way I enjoy playing it is it will be grindy. I like to complete the missions for people. I like to explore the world. There's something incredibly cathartic about just wandering around. So yeah, that one is definitely high on my to-do list. Hello, mischievous peacekeeper. Wasn't there an update to Death Stranding, but only the console version? I don't know. I have no idea on that, I'm afraid. Not even the slightest Scooby. My lord, we're still moving CO2 out of here. Goodness. All right, I think we're gonna run one more launch, which means I have to save out and come back in. Then we're gonna wrap up the stream there. But I've got a bunch of first tastes that I want to do for my main YouTube channel. It's just that, you know, the last couple of days I've kind of been, like I said, been smacked in the face with the fatigue bat because of the second vaccination. But I'm definitely feeling a lot better now. So we're probably going to get back to that. I am tempted to do a Stationeers run though. It'll be interesting to see how that game has progressed. Of course, there's the regular spaced out update as well, but I do want to finish this base. If we can get to space and do it, that'll be grand. I may just put this down for the next little while until the big merge update has had things tweaked. It would be great to see meteors come back, and it would be great to see rockets work properly. Because that's kind of the place where we're at in the game. We've gotten to space, and now we want to try and utilize space, but that's the part that the big merge seems to have dropped the ball on. So many other amazing QOL features, though. You know what? There's also one other game that has kind of been on my mind to continue playing on stream. Star Sector. It's been a while. There's a Death Stranding director's cut only for consoles. Oh, I don't have time for that. I really don't have time for that kind of stuff. I'm sure it's great. I'm sure it's super fun. But look, I bought the game when it came out. I'm not looking to have to buy the game again. Even though I've done that for the PC, I'm not going to look to buy again because I don't know. You've added some superfluous thing. It's like, really, come on. That's just scummy. No, well, not scummy. I don't think there's some sort of malign intent there. But it's just like, oh, really? Look, you made a good game, but that's the nature of this industry. Once you played it, you don't want to play it again. Oh, you might not. Some games lend themselves to that. And honestly, this is definitely a game that's pretty good. But, you know, move on to the next project. You know? Stop reinventing the game with small changes so that someone will buy the whole thing all over again. Tonk. Someone tell Todd Howard this, please. Oh my lord, that is okay. At least I can't imagine that the Death Stranding director's cut is anywhere as egregious of an example of this particular phenomena as Skyrim. That's just making that comparison is like saying, oh, well, you know, the sun and the moon, they're both in space. They both exert a gravitational pull. They're basically the same thing. No. No, they're really not. My lord, Skyrim, though. That being said. What would you say if I said that I've kind of been watching someone play Skyrim recently, and I'm not going to lie, there's a little bit of me is like, yeah, I remember when I first played Skyrim, just wandering around the world, looking at things. Ah, those were good times. And a tiny part of me is like, wouldn't it be nice if I could recapture those good times on stream? I don't think it's possible, though. I think that's very much a rose-tinted glasses scenario, but, you know, it is what it is. Right, do I want to go and get some fullerene trace amounts? Sure. Nah, let's go back to this one and try and get a little bit more niobium. We also need to do one more study there, so. Launch! Have you proceeded to go down the rabbit hole of modding Skyrim? I've modded it a little bit, but I have not done anything near the sort of modding that most people consider modding of Skyrim. Mostly I've done things to make it a little bit harder, a little bit more survival-y, so, you know, food and drink and not just these things that you could do if you want to roleplay. They're things you have to do, otherwise you die. Dragons, actually dangerous. But the problem with that one is because you have to fight the dragon right at the beginning, it kind of really messes with the balance of the game, because it's like, yeah, no, at the point in the game where you've now given me this quest, it is zero chance that I will survive this encounter. I mean zero, actually zero. Even if I use all of the cheese possible, because the NPCs on the quest can't technically die and they'll keep getting up and keep plinking it every now and then. No, it can out-heal everything they do. Zero chance. I need to go and grind on side quests so hard before I can actually get down to the main story of the quest, because the dragons are actually behaving like, oh, I don't know, dragons. They are the fire-breathing, scaly kind, not the sky puppies that have a big bark but no bite. But I do enjoy Skyrim. I'm going to be honest. I have enjoyed it in the past. Quite a lot. But it does suffer very much from the... Even if you set out to be a certain way, you are ultimately going to be a stealth archer. It's kind of like Tyranny. I'm going to be a melee character. What? Magic? Oh my god! Though, unlike Tyranny, where that's legitimately because magic's so amazing great... in Skyrim, it's because anything other than Stealth Archer is donkey balls, by comparison. Have you ever tried to do the wander around Skyrim thing? But I know too much about the game and the available quests now, so I end up going directly to places. Yeah, no, that happens, though. I can still appreciate just wandering around for the sake of wandering around, which is probably why I get on with Death Stranding so much. Okay, why do we not have Buddy Buds in here anymore? Oh, probably I had to take him down because it was getting a bit crazy. Yeah, let's pop the Buddy Buds back in there. The temperature in there was getting a bit nasty. But I have noticed that Italics seems to be having a lot of fun with Project Zomboid right now. It's definitely a possibility. But again, it's been so long since the last time I played that I'm not entirely convinced that I would know what on earth I was doing. Also, I can already hear the comparisons now to Cataclysm. That part I don't relish. Hang on a second. Am I putting those? No, I'm putting those on. Oh, right. I was just deconstructing it in 8. But yeah, there are a couple of games that I can definitely look into. That would be quite fun to check out, and quite a few that I imagine, you know, it would be good to get back to. Some, you know, there's a lot of different games that for some reason or another are not as engaging right now for me. You know, for example, Stonehearth, simply because it feels really clunky. We should be able to resolve that, but, you know, for the time being, it's not the best. But Thea 2 is definitely one that I would enjoy going back to. I love Thea. I don't know what it is about Thea that just clicked with me when I first played the original Thea, but I have adored that game. And Thea 2 is just better, a better Thea 1, as far as I'm concerned. As much as I was talking about making Skyrim harder, there is one thing that I changed, and it didn't make it harder; it made it a lot easier. But it made it feel more like Morrowind, so I did it, and I allowed it for that reason. And that is that I made it possible to add significantly more enchants to an item. Oh, Spellcaster University, that's a really good one as well, Zangiri. I was actually watching Rhapsody play that earlier, and I've watched Shen play it a ton. And yeah, everyone I've spoken to says it's an amazing game. So that, yeah, no, that's a really there's a great possibility that I'll pick that up. But yeah, the whole thing with Skyrim and enchanting is the enchanting felt incredibly restrictive compared to Morrowind's enchanting, because duh, it was. So I modded that. I mean, you can break Skyrim with enchanting anyway, but oh, you can break it so much more when you're not as heavily restricted to what enchants go where. You can really start messing with Skyrim then. But to balance it out, you know, enchants cost a lot more to do, which, unfortunately, realistically, just meant that once I got the Black Star, I was just going back and forth to bandit areas, just, you know, sticking bandits into soul gems and then using them to power my tools. I think that's pretty much why I was... Yeah, but that's the thing. In Morrowind, it took a lot of work to get to that point, so it felt acceptable. It's like, well, why shouldn't I be the literal embodiment of the deities wandering around, you know, just shattering mountains and thwomping entire armies into the stratosphere? Have you seen my armor? Do you know how much gold it cost to make my armor this good? How many crazy things I had to fight to get the soul gems for it? Nah, it felt justified in Morrowind, and I will die on that hill. Skyrim, though, is like, here you go, here's an enchant. Also, use a potion that makes it better and better and better. Right, give me a sec, peeps. I think we are now getting to the point where we need to wrap things up, though. It was a lovely chat. I had a great deal of fun considering new games and such, but Lady Sheila is heading over to the vet now with Siri, Bitter, and Tally just for a quick checkup, so I'm going to head on off at this point. Time ran away with me a little bit. I'm talking about Morrowind and Skyrim. So we're going to do a rather swift exit today. We're not going to have as much of a chat. Thank you very much for joining me, everyone. It was a pleasure, as always. A little bit disappointed that space seems quite as broken as it is, but we'll let Oni sit for a little bit whilst they work the worst of the bugs out of the big merge update, and hopefully come back and finish off this save before moving on to Space Out. If we're lucky, we'll have been able to do that before Ideology drops for RimWorld, because once that drops, that my life is going to be dedicated to tying in for a little bit. But with that, thank you very much for joining me. It has been wonderful. You're all far, far too kind and crazy for still being around after 8 hours, and I shall just drop you off here. Take care, everyone.